Yo, what's up, guys? I've been wanting to make some more videos and brainstorming ideas, but I really want to document things I'd already rather be doing or I would do on my own, rather than just making videos for the sake of making videos, because that's ultimate freedom for me. So today I want to explain, describe, build on this idea of how I'm working and a new theory I have on how to really absorb massive amounts of information in major fields. So for today, I'm going to start with biology. I've already taken biology, intro biology in high school, as well as AP bio in high school. I've never taken a college course in bio, but I have a decent understanding in intro bio because I've taken 2 full years of it. Those were many years ago now, but given that I've already taken these courses, I think I'm sure I've got an A in both of them, all 4 semesters. So at some point I had the information, right? And as we all know, in the school system, sometimes or sometimes you cram information and you get a good grade, but you didn't really understand the information, and as soon as you spit it out on the test, it's gone and it evaporates very quickly. However, I've already gone over this information pretty thoroughly, so my approach to learning, say, biology or relearning or whatever you want to call it, for me is going to be different than if I was going into a completely fresh course, something that I have never read a book in or taken a course in, such as neuroscience, which I'll probably make a video on in the future. But that'll be a different approach because I've never done a cohesive or completed anything in that course, really. But for bio, it's different. So how I'm gonna start is, first of all, with a few mental models or philosophies to follow on learning. First of all, learning is creating. So I'm not going to go read a book. I'm not going to read a biology book cover to cover and then say, I got it, I learned it all, because you didn't. Somebody will come to you with a question on, well, what is such and such? What is the Krebs cycle? Explain to me meiosis. And you'll be like, that sounds familiar, but you'll draw a blank, and you'll probably get frustrated, and you'll probably get upset and say, what was all this? It was a waste of time. That was dumb. Well, you kind of did waste a lot of time depending on your goal if you just read a book cover to cover. If you're just trying to explore new ideas, get inspiration, reading books are great. But if you actually want to learn, you got to create the information yourself and use the books to help fill in the gaps that you discover through self-testing, through writing, through creating your own stuff. So creation is step 1. If you can create things, you've got those things down. And you'll remember those things very well because you've already got almost all the neural structures you need, if not all of them, to create that idea, because you created that idea from scratch. You didn't use some external source to give you that idea and then try to cram that external idea into your already existing brain. So learning is creating. That's a massive pillar to build on. We'll start there. Anyway, so I'm going to start with, you got a blank piece of paper. I'm going to write biology in the middle and circle it, and I'm going to create a mind map. I already started working on it here. So we got biology. And now what I'm going to create in the mind map is major themes. What are the biggest picture themes that biology covers? So already I have down evolution. Another major theme I have is genetics. Another theme I have is ecology. Another major theme I have is cell biology. Now I'm pretty confident on those, but I'm going to continue to brainstorm. There probably won't be that many more. And then I'm going to get back to you on what I do from there, how I cross-reference and validify my current mind map. But really, this original mind map that comes straight from your own head, on the major themes of a subject, they're so vital. It's so important that you have the framework that you're going to place information in and build upon in the future. Most school systems, most people just jump right into the reading page 1 or chapter 1, but you need to get a very thorough overview, and you need to know, okay, I'm reading this chapter, and this chapter falls into this major theme, which fits into this subject. And within this chapter and this major theme, there are minor themes or major themes of this theme. And you build a mind map then for, say, evolution, and you build a mind map for genetics. You build a mind map for each of the major themes. And you want to get to the point where you can create all of these mind maps straight from your own head with no external references, not looking at any books, not looking at any previous mind maps, not looking at any notes. When you can do that, you've got a pretty good understanding, especially if there's been a lot of time in between. We're talking days, weeks, months. If you can come back to this one day and you're like, okay, let me review bio, and you create a mind map and you create all the major themes of intro bio, general bio, and then you can create all the major theme mind maps for each theme. So an evolution mind map, what are the major theories of evolution, what are the major points? If you can do that, you've really learned the information very, very well. And you can pick up a book, skim through it, find parts that you're like, I remember that word, that vocab word, I remember that theory. I know how it fits into the big picture. Let me try to remember what it is, and you create an idea of what you think that vocab word means. You check it. If you got it right, you've really learned that information. If you get it wrong, great. Now you can relearn it the right way. So I'm still working this all out. I think this will work great for sciences, physics, chemistry, bio. This will work incredibly for. I have an idea that it can work for the softer sciences as well. I think it will work decently well for those, and I think it will work decently well for math. But I think for the major sciences, the harder the science, the better. So physics and chemistry, I think, will work the best because there's not a lot of fluff and there's not a lot of subjectivity. It's this is this, this is this. We teach thermodynamics, we teach kinematics, we teach electromagnetism in all standardized physics courses. Here's how, if you can do the problems, you know it, right? But if you take someone's philosophy class or psychology class or sociology or anthropology or whatever, the softer sciences and philosophy, you can take an intro philosophy class at one school and an intro philosophy class at a different school, and they completely go over different information. They completely have different approaches to teaching and goals for what the student should learn. So this is just a theory for the hard sciences that I'm working right now. Anyway, I'm gonna go work on this, continue to work on the biology mind map straight from my head, and once I've exhausted that, I'll pick the camera back up. All right, guys, so I've continued working on this for a few minutes, my mind map. So now I've got, I don't know if you can read that, I'll just read it out. Animal biology, plant biology, human biology / anatomy, evolution, genetics, ecology, and cell biology. So there's 7 major pillars that I believe are the standard major pillars, branches, themes of intro gen biology. So how am I going to go about this now? Before I do, I also wrote down here on the bottom a ton of questions that just came to my head. Can I answer these questions? Right? I'm testing myself. So do the classifications fall into ecology? And by classifications, I mean kingdom, order, phylum, genus, species. I'm sure I'm missing some. I also wrote, what are all the classification? What is that? What is the official name for that system, classification system? What are all the stages or levels of the system? What is the Krebs cycle? What is meiosis? What does ATP stand for? What does ADP stand for? Stuff like that, right? And I do my best. You want to question, you want to always test yourself, and then you want to give the best answer you can. You just want to dump as much information, even if you don't have it exactly right. So for Krebs cycle, I said, I believe it has to do with ATP and cell bio. Is that correct? I don't know. But I'm figuring out where it fits into the big picture, or I'm attempting to, and I'm trying to remember what it's related to, and from there I can probably reason out more. But that's it. It's so valuable to learning. I'm just getting a little bit better, a little bit smarter, a little bit learning, developing this idea a little bit more, developing this idea a little bit more, right? And another major pillar, or not pillar, theme, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, for learning that I'm following in this system is it's better to learn something wrong than to not learn anything at all, right? This is completely argued against in the musical and instrument space, where people say practice perfectly, don't practice mistakes, practice it perfectly, avoid mistakes as much as possible. There's people that are a lot better than me at instruments, so I don't want to say that I know this for fact, but as far as information in the brain goes and learning goes, I believe that when you are agitated, frustrated, you're trying to learn something new, it triggers the release of neurotransmitters or neuromodulators in the brain that signal this memory needs to be remembered. This needs to be developed. And when what a memory getting remembered is either a new neural structure being created, new neurons, new connections between neurons, or a previous memory being strengthened by enhancing or thickening the basically the insulation on a neural pathway so that the electrical signals can be sent more efficiently. That's enhancing or strengthening a previous neural connection. Either way, real physiological material processes are taking place within the brain, and you can modify these things in the future, but you need to have structures. If you have no structures, nothing happens. Nothing changed if your brain doesn't change. You didn't learn anything if your brain didn't change. So you need your brain to change, and that takes time. So it's better on the first day to start building a structure, even though it's not perfect, and the next day you shape it a little bit more, you correct it a little bit more, but that you're building on something that already exists, rather than avoiding mistakes. Mistakes, I believe, are vital to the learning process, and they are actually what trigger the proper neuromodulators to signal to the brain that something needs to change, something is not right. If you're just feeling content all day and satisfied, and you're practicing your musical piece without any mistakes, I don't think that's going to lead to much memory at all, because your brain's like, everything's good. We made it through today with very little agitation, without any of these emotions that arise when you make mistakes. Therefore, our brain is pretty fit for our current environment and does not need to be spent. No resources need to be spent updating it. All right, that's a long-winded way of explaining all this, but step 2, I've written down the mind map. I've written down questions as they come to my mind to test myself. Do I remember what this means? I've written down as much or a decent amount, just a sentence or two on each question, even if I didn't know the answer. And now step 2 is going to be grabbing textbooks. So today I went ahead and bought some books. I bought quite a lot of books from Half Price Books, but I actually got this biology textbook, right? As well as this biology textbook. Two different biology textbooks. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the table of contents, and I'm going to see what how the book is divided up. How is the book organized? When I do, I'm going to see if I was missing some things, if I can word some things differently, and I'm going to be able to update my mind map from there. All right, guys, I just cracked open both of these bio books, and I've been sorting through their how they're organized. And really, I'm realizing the more more textbooks you have for a subject, the better, which is crazy, because in school you get taught out of one subject, or one textbook, I mean, and that's, due to economic and just practical reasons. But anyway, I'm looking at these contents in the first book. I'm seeing that there's an intro as the first unit. Second unit is cells, like I said, cell biology. The third unit is genetics, got that. Fourth unit is evolution, got that. Ecology is the fifth, got that. Now, here we go. Classifications, right? I wrote, do classifications fall into ecology? Well, according to book 1, no. Classifications is a separate unit. It's unit 6 called classification and diversity. And when I was looking at this, I went ahead and flipped through and found the system, classification system. It's also, it's actually known as the Linnean classification system. So there's one question I had that I've now answered, the Linnean, or Linnaean classification system. I've got all the classifications now: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So there are seven layers or levels of the Linnaean classification system. It's also a form of taxonomy, I believe. Anyway, yeah, so now I'm answering my questions, I'm reviewing, I'm learning so much right here. Though it may look very slow, may not look like I'm learning a lot. In comparison to what you would have done with this time of just cracking open the book and starting on page 1, you'd be completely lost. You wouldn't know how any of this information fit into anything, and therefore you would all just go in one ear and go out the other. Versus what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be able to remember this tomorrow. I'll be able to take you step by step what I did and what I learned and what it's much more valuable creating and using these books to help you create rather than just trying to consume information. Either way, classification somehow needs to fit onto my mind map, but let's continue. Unit 7 is plants, 8 is animals, and 9 is human biology. I had those, plants, animals, biology, human biology, on my original. However, I cracked open the second biology book, right? And Unit 1 in this one is called The Nature of Life. It seems very similar. It's got 2 chapters, just like the first book. It looks just like an intro. It does have the chemistry of life in both Unit 1. In both books have a chapter called The Chemistry of Life. So, do I add biochem to my mind map? I could. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a major subject in intro biology. This is high school biology. I've found that both of these books are high school biology. So for now, we're going to just leave it as is with no chemistry. Unit 2 in the second one is ecology. 3 cells. Got both of those on the original. 4th is genetics. 5th is evolution. Got both of these as well. Now, here's where it starts to differ from this book. Microorganisms and fungi. Okay, that's Unit 6. Unit 7 is plants. Had that. Unit 8, though, invertebrates. Unit 9, chordates, which I've never even heard of that word, I don't believe. So I'm going to have to look into what that means. And then Unit 10, human biology. So there's a lot of overlap, but there's also differences. So if I had more textbooks, I could further refine, but since I don't, I'm going to go ahead and grab my computer next and jump on ChatGPT and begin to further organize this list. One major question I have now is how many kingdoms of life are there? Because maybe I can just sum up a major theme of, protists, bacteria, viruses. Well, are viruses alive? I don't believe so, but plants, animals, human biology, these are all subdivisions of the major kingdoms of life that get covered in introbio. So either way, I'm going to grab my computer and continue to work on my coalescing this mind map. All right, guys. So with the help of ChatGPT, I have furthered this idea and learned more. Let's see what I did. So I started with what are chordates? Right, it was chordata, right? Chordates. What are chordates? So I learned that is actually the phylum of the kingdom animal, basically the vertebrates. It's another word for vertebrates. So then I asked, how many kingdoms of life are there? Told me there are 6. There's animals, plants, protists, archaea, bacteria, and fungi, right? So the 6 kingdoms of life I've found are a major theme, and I've summed up, unit 7 in this book, plants, unit 8, animals. And then in this book, you got chordates, invertebrates, plants, microorganisms, and fungi. I've just taken all those units and summed it up to one major theme or pillar of intro bio and said the 6 kingdoms of life. And they go into the biology and they go in more depth into each of those 6 kingdoms. But I made an updated mind map here. I wrote 6 kingdoms plus viruses, because viruses don't fall into a kingdom of life because they are not considered to be alive. They do not have the characteristics of life, right? There's another great question to ask. What are the characteristics of life? All right. I'm not going to answer that currently, but I will work on that. That's just asking the question, just posing the question is most of the battle. It is most of it. Don't let that, don't get it confused that asking the question is worthless. No, that posing the question is a massive part of the learning process. Massive. Possibly bigger than answering the question. For example, SQ3R, 4R, depending on which version you're using, I believe, is a method of learning or a philosophy or technique to learn. And SQ, right? SQ is the first 2 letters. Scan, you just want to get familiar with the subject. Question is the second step. It's a step I skipped for a long time. I thought it was useless, not worth the time. Now, questioning is so important, and it helps you prime your brain, prime your attention to find the answer once you've posed the question. Anyway, next I asked ChatGPT. Basically asked, are vertebrates and invertebrates outside of the Linnaean classification system? No, it's not. They're both. Animal is the kingdom, and then animal is further subdivided into vertebrates and invertebrates. Though it's a little bit more complex than that with the phylum. And then I said, okay, well, classification, right? This is it's a big thing in intro bio, like kingdom, phylum. See, I'm already blanking. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Possibly, I don't know. That might be wrong, but that's a big theme of intro bio, right? What's a better word that I can encapsulate that whole system? And I just wrote taxonomy. I asked ChatGPT, could taxonomy sum up biology classification system, or the biology? And it said yes. So I'm pretty certain I can just do that. Well, here we go. Kingdom, phylum, class. Kingdom, phylum, class. Those are the first 3. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Could you say taxonomy is a major theme of intro bio? Yes. All right. So now we've got the second version. We got 7 major themes. So I've taken the animal, plant, biology, and also added in protists, fungi, archaea, bacteria, and I threw them into 6 kingdoms plus viruses as well. Taxonomy I added. Then we got the original 4, ecology, cell biology, evolution, and genetics, and as well as the original human biology and anatomy. So now we're into 7. Now, one more thing I'm going to do is now put these all into ChatGPT and see if it's got any other major themes or suggestions it's got. All right, guys, after a long discussion with ChatGPT, basically just confirmed that these are the 7 major themes of intro biology. Biochem, you could say that's considered in biology, but it's really not covered in intro biology as far as I can see with these textbooks and as far as my experience goes in high school. Either way, I'm very happy with this mind map. It's a very robust framework to look at a broader subject, a very broad subject through. These are major, very broad concepts covered in the intro courses. So yeah, yeah. There are also some other ones that were more specializations and subcategories, such as developmental biology, physiology, molecular biology, things of that nature. I didn't decide to include them now, but hey, it's not about being perfect. This is a step in the right direction. My understanding and framework of biology has increased today. I've definitely made progress in understanding of this field. So, with that being said, I think that's going to conclude today. It was a good day of making progress, right? Yeah. Learned these 7 major broad themes, concepts covered in intro bio. I also learned what this classification system, taxonomy of biology is called. The Linnaean classification system is the probably most common one used. I learned, right, what are the levels? Kingdom, phylum, class, right? Those are the first 3. Order, family, genus, species. I believe that's right now. So I learned those. I learned the 6 kingdoms of life, that there are 6 kingdoms of life. Animals, plants, protists, bacteria, archaea, fungi, right? I learned that vertebrates, also known as chordates, and invertebrates are both subdivisions of animals. Even though, plants, protists, bacteria, archaea, fungi don't have backbones, they're not really considered invertebrates. You're only considered invertebrate if you're an animal, right? And so I learned that. Yeah. And the 6 major themes I came up with for intro biology are, again, taxonomy, which is the classification system. Ecology, which is study of ecosystems and the interactions between life within an ecosystem and with the ecosystem itself and it non-living material. So ecology, taxonomy, cell biology of the cell, genetics, evolution, the 6 kingdoms plus viruses, and then human biology and anatomy. So there we go. A lot to learn today. That was the progression of my understanding of biology, as well as the beginning of a new experimental form of learning I'm trying out. Definitely like to get more textbooks. I think these things are the key. I'm tending to go towards more textbook learning now, rather than consumer books, just because of the cohesiveness, the objectivity of the topics taught, right? And that's easier to learn stuff like that than to try to memorize someone's book about, biology. Some random guy writing about biology could write about anything, and it could be completely unique ideas as well. And it's like, if I'm going to be memorizing stuff and really committing things to memory, they might as well be the major theories of science, the major laws of science, the major laws of math, right? That's just where I'm at now. But anyway, I hope you gained something from watching this.